Hey guys, before we get started, don't forget to check out Inside the Mech Box at airsplat.com on youtube.com. Got a lot of really cool guides, tech manuals, all kinds of disassembly and installation videos, parts, gun upgrades, just really cool airsoft guns. Go check it out. Hey guys, I'm Prodigy from Airsoft Team Kilo23. Now you've seen the general review and you've seen the range and accuracy test, but today we're going to be checking out the internals of the CYMA M14 or CM032, whatever you want to call it. CM is CYMA, CYMA. It's cool. So, got the CYMA M14 here. Just an overview of this gun. I actually like it. It's a good gun for what you pay for. It's not a very expensive gun, but you get a good range and accuracy deal out of the package, and you get a high cap mag, so that's a plus. Today we're going to be checking out the internals, like I said, and it's got a version 7 gearbox. Now, it's not a very common gearbox. It's really only in the M14 and maybe one or two other guns. It's a very uncommon gearbox. You think about MP5s, M16s, they'll have the version 2 gearbox. You think about G36s, AKs, they'll have the version 3 gearbox. M14s is kind of its own little group of gearboxes, so to speak. So this version 7 gearbox is only in the TM and the TM clones. This is not the same gearbox that is in the G&G, the Classic Army, stuff like that. Totally different deal there. So let's go ahead and break this gun open, see what we got in here, and see what kind of work CYMA does with stock guns. Now, before we get to the gearbox of the gun, let's check out the hop-up chamber here. Now, I'm not going to take it out of the outer barrel assembly because really it's kind of a pain to get out. I really don't feel like reinstalling it. I'm just going to leave this stock for now, the barrel and hop-up assembly. It seems to be accurate enough and it gets a good enough air seal right now. The real difference between this system and other systems is it kind of uses an axle system to put a hop on your BB. It's got this little bar here. You push this upward, I guess, and it pushes another bar downward via like a top little hinge sort of idea. And that'll push the nub down onto your bucking and put spin onto your BB. Now, I have not had a lot of good experiences with this chamber, or this style chamber. I've actually had these break pretty easily, and for really no apparent reason. They work just fine stock if you're not going to open up the gun, but I really wish they would make a metal version of this. It would really help things out, in my opinion, and it'd just be a lot more durable. Now, I've got the gearbox out of the CYMA M14. Now, I've got some mixed feelings about the version 7 gearbox. I think the main thing I don't like about it is all the proprietary parts that are in it. The gears, every gun's got their own nozzle. It's just, I don't like the fact that this gun has so many proprietary parts. It's just kind of a pain in my opinion, and a lot of these clones have like different, they'll have a different spring guide for every other clone. They'll have a different gear set. Like I know the AGM uses a standard gear set, while the CYMA uses a M14 gear set. This is a direct clone of the Tokyo Marui, so anything that fits in the TM is going to fit in this. It's just I wish Tokyo Marui had designed the M14 to accept standard gears. That way I could go get my parts box over here and pick out a nicer gear set and throw it in there and throw a high power spring in there and call it a day. But alas, they didn't, so I've got to deal with it. Now, the main difference between the version 7 and other standardized gearboxes like version 2s and 3s is the fact that most of the mechanics on this gearbox are on the outside of the shell. You think about version 2s and 3s, a lot of the electrical system, the switch assembly, the wires, they're going to be inside the gearbox. Not so much on the version 3 gearboxes, but more so on the version 2 gearboxes. Everything is inside of the gearbox. It's very, it's more of a drop-in unit. So the reason I like these version 7 gearboxes is you can very easily do all the tuning mechanical-wise and close it up, and then you can deal with the electrical. You don't have to try to cram wiring in little crevices like the version 2 gearbox, and sometimes it's just a lot more, just a lot easier to work on the mechanics of this gearbox. Plus, these things are pretty quiet. They're not very hard to work on at all once you have it open. And it's a convenient system in my opinion. Now, one thing I really didn't like is the fact that the wires are actually soldered onto the motor here. This is fine for people that aren't going to open up their gearbox and they're never going to touch their gun internally. But for a tech like myself, it's like I want to be able to switch the motor out quickly and not have to actually turn my soldering iron on and stuff like that. But the fact that I have to get my soldering iron out and to switch out the motor and stuff like that, it's just a little bit of a pain. So it's a small gripe of mine at the fact that they soldered the wires onto the stupid motor contacts. Now, originally, the wire system had two mini Tamiya connectors right here, about an inch aft of the motor cage. And I decided to actually remove those and just splice the wiring together. It's just kind of a pain for me to have an extra set of connectors there that aren't Deans. I'm a huge fan of Deans. I'll go with those any day. None of my guns have Tamiya connectors anymore. So I went ahead and spliced those together. They're about the same gauge, if not the same exactly. The wiring running through here is actually copper wire. The wire up in the gearbox section is more of a silver wire. Now the coating on the stock wiring here is pretty thick. It is a little bit of a pain to cut through, but it's nothing some wire strippers can't do. So let's check out the motor here. It does just look like any other standard stock Chinese motor. It really does not have a lot of torque. If I can spin it with my fingernail here, then it has very little torque. I'm also looking at the trigger contacts. I probably put about maybe 500 or 600 rounds through this gun so far in an 8.4 volt battery. And the trigger contacts are already starting to show wear, so it's never a good thing. I'm probably going to throw a FET in here just so I don't burn these things out in a few months. Now, with all the hardware off of the gearbox shell itself, let's go ahead and open this up. Looks a little bit more like a normal gearbox now. So, even with the spring pretty much decompressed, this thing loves to explode on me. So, as you can see, it's got massive amounts of the usual green Chinese gunk grease. It's going to be fun cleaning all that up. So, I'm going to get this thing cleaned up so I can actually show you without getting my fingers all greasy, and furthermore my camera for that matter. So now that I have everything cleaned out, I can actually look at everything and really see what kind of quality you get with this gun. The outside of the gearbox shell is painted black, and the inside is just the regular metal kind of chrome silver. The gearbox shell really is nothing special. It will take quite a bit of a beating. I've never personally seen a version 7 gearbox shell crack. I've seen just about every other gearbox shell crack, but never version 7. The gun comes with a black M100-ish spring. Now, usually CYMA guns come with like a silver spring, and they tend to lose strength over time. So I don't know how this one's going to fare. It might just be a color difference. I really don't know. The spring guide, it looks like a version 3, but I could be wrong. It's probably version 7, so don't trust what I say on the spring guide this time. It is plastic. It just has a little washer there. I personally would go get a metal or bearing one. Never been a fan of plastic spring guides. I have had them crack numerous times on me, so go upgrade this thing. Now, the gears and bushings are pretty nice. Both steel. You get, obviously, 6 metal bushings. It'd be kind of weird if you got 5. It doesn't really work. Now, I did find 5 little shims. They're all about 0.2 millimeters or so. And I had one on the top and bottom of everything except the bottom of the bevel gear. So everything was... The gears were pretty loose. They needed to be tightened down quite a bit to actually keep the axial movement to a minimum. So I really recommend reshimming this gun. The shim job was okay. These gears are pretty good stock, and they're going to run an M100 spring fine for a while, even on a kind of a cruddy shim job. But I really recommend having a tech actually work on this gun before you get it tuned. Now, the gears are actually pretty good quality, but keep in mind that the center gear, the spur gear, is the version 7 specific M14 spur gear. So if you guys want to get an upgrade gear set for this gun, go get a version 7 gear set. The tappet plate and anti-reversal latch are really nothing special. Standard anti-reversal latch. You got your long, super crazy cool spring here for your tappet plate, and it does have the version 7 tappet plate. It's a white plastic. It's relatively flexible. It's CYMA's standard quality. I don't have a lot of tappet plates break on me, so this is probably going to be fine for a while. The cylinder assembly is nothing different from any other standard cylinder. Type 0 brass cylinder here. plastic piston and piston head. It does not have bearings in it, just like CYMA standard stuff. You just got a big metal lug there that this is glued into. Cylinder head is a standard version 7. It's plastic. It's got a little bit of a foam, rubber damper here. It's not very soft though. And the nozzle, obviously M14 style. It is plastic, it's clear, and you can't really expect a lot more. Now the compression on this is actually surprisingly good. But nonetheless, I am going to install a new piston head here pretty soon and throw in a 120 spring and a new spring guide. So we'll see how those turn out. Overall, for being a very inexpensive gun and being CYMA quality, it is pretty good. Like I said, the tuning could use a little bit of work, shimming, greasing, obviously. But overall, you really get your money's worth out of this gun and a little bit more. The gearbox is relatively upgradable, just like the TM version 7. So go find some upgrades, have some fun with this gun. Also, don't forget to check out Inside the Mech Box on Airsoft.com on YouTube.com. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Prodigy from Airsoft Team Kilo23, signing off.